Hey guys, welcome to JC Sports. Back at it again with best sports news this week. Me and Jackson are together today, actually.
Yeah, we're over at the Cameron's house today. We decided it's a nice day. We got the day off school, so we decided, you know what? We'll hook up. We'll do this together.
Yep. So today we're doing a mock draft. We each created our own mock drafts, and then we'll go on to my baseball and his hockey. We'll talk a little March Madness as well.
Yeah, we wish we could have like a camera here or something. Like
Yeah,
that would be pretty dope. Like
we'll do a face reveal and stuff like
face
that.
reveal, like
We'll do a face
anyone
reveal to our
cares
15 subscribers.
to our 15 subscribers. No, but yeah, we're here together. We did a mock draft. We'll talk about
Yeah.
everything about that. Um, Yeah. So let's talk about some of just the news. We'll cover the trades and stuff because obviously there were some of those in the NFL landscape this week.
Yeah.
And so the first trade, it kind of happens like simultaneously, but the Dolphins traded number 3 overall to the 49ers for number 12 overall and like a future third and 2 future firsts. So,
Yeah.
well, like, what does this mean, Cameron, for the Niners and the Dolphins? What do you think? We'll
So
go with the Niners first because the Dolphins mess around later.
It's good for I think it's good for the Niners because, in my opinion, they need a quarterback, and I think they're going to take a quarterback. But we'll get to the draft later. So I think it's a good move for. Honestly, I think it's smarter on the Dolphins side because they're getting more draft picks. I think right now, I like the way the Niners are gonna get a top pick, whatever they do pick. But I think that. Overall, I think its ups and downs to both sides. I think getting future what is it, second and third rounds
It
and
was
then
a future third and 2 future firsts.
right, and so I think that's a good move for the Dolphins because that'll give them even more talent. And I think the Dolphins are going to be a growing top team within the next couple of years, especially with these draft picks. So what do you think?
So if I'm the 49ers, I just gave up almost my future and draft picks.
Right,
And so when I go, I can't not take a quarterback because if you give up that much to move up
right.
that
That's
far,
my opinion. I agree with
you
that.
have to take a quarterback in that scenario. Like, of course, there are other very good players out there, but I don't think any quarterback, or any other player aside from a quarterback, would be worth the haul that you just gave up.
Especially in this year, yeah, no doubt. I think uh, Jimmy G's not the guy for him. I don't really like Jimmy G personally because he's plagued with injury and he's really not that good
And
of
he
a
just
quarterback.
steals all of our girls.
He's really not that good of a quarterback. So there's how do you not? You got some really good pro days that have been going on. Zach Wilson just had his pro day a couple of days ago. He looked really good. Obviously, we know where Trevor Lawrence is going, so we don't need to
Obviously.
worry
But
about him.
but the Dolphins also made another move, and so now they're back at number 12, and they say, "Hey Philly, let's trade up." And so they go and they get number 6 overall for they give up their number 12 overall, a fourth rounder, and a 2022 first. So that's a pretty good haul for the Dolphins. You move back like one
Smart. I
spot
think
and
it
you
was
still
smart.
get like
Yeah,
a lot of stuff. Like
yeah.
that's pretty
Yeah.
good.
I think it's smart because the Niners lost a lot. They're putting a lot of faith in this third round pick now. And the Dolphins getting the most out of both of them, I think.
Well, yeah, for sure. They just did some sweet maneuvering
Yeah, no doubt.
around the draft market, and so the Eagles are just. I think the Eagles are just trying to recoup some draft picks
Yeah.
after the Carson Wentz disaster and Howie Roseman disaster. So they're kind of in shambles. They're just trying to pick up some more picks. And then we also have something our favorite team did. Sammy Watkins to the Ravens on a 1-year, $6 million deal. What do you think?
I love it. I
You love it?
honestly, I just because the Ravens are such dire need of a receiver core. Because yeah, you have Marquise Brown, who's so inconsistent, in my opinion. He may be fast, but you see, like in the Cleveland Browns game, he decided that he wanted to. As soon as Lamar Jackson came back in, I forgot it was like a 35-yard touchdown or something like that. But he already dropped 3 passes before that. And besides the receiver core, you had like Mark Andrews, in my opinion, is an elite tight end. He's probably top five in the league, in my opinion. Some people won't agree with me on that, but I think he's got the talent for it. But some days Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews will go for like 100 yards to each other, and then some days Mark Andrews will get like no catches.
Hmm.
I think you need to form just more talent in the receiver core around him so that he doesn't just have to rely on one or two targets.
Well, yeah, it's definitely the play to diversify. I also like this. I don't love it but I like it enough. I
I
like it.
think we just need talent around the receiver core right now because we're not going to get any. I don't think we're going to get any top receivers from any teams right now because I think receivers are one of the biggest needs on a lot of teams. So whatever top receivers they have, they're going to keep. So I think Sammy Watkins was a good pickup because
Definitely a good second tier pickup, I'd say.
yeah, I don't put him in, and I don't put him at first, top receiver talent, but he's good for us right now, and hopefully we can pick up that top receiver so we can have him as like a slot guy, something like that. But yeah, I like the decision.
All right, so let's move on to our main section of today. And so today, what me and Cameron have done we have compiled two separate mock drafts.
Right.
And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna just kind of do a little bit of debate. We'll try to go through all 32, but if we don't,
We'll go through like at least 20.
we'll go through at least like 20 of them. And so we're just gonna compare our mock drafts. See what went where. Have a little bit of spirited debate. So let's get on it. So number one,
There's no argument here. It's going to be Trevor. He's the best pick in the draft.
Sarah Fuller. Yeah.
The best quarterback in the draft. He's the best player in the draft. So Trevor Lawrence is going to get number one in my opinion, unless somebody else decides to show up and be like, "Oh yeah, I'm taking this spot," which is not going to happen.
Jacksonville isn't trading it.
Jacksonville's trying to put all the
Trevor
faith
Lawrence
in
is
him,
basically a Jaguar. He's
Yeah.
basically already in Duval.
Yeah, and good or bad for Trevor Lawrence, I think Jacksonville's putting 100%. They're going to almost follow him like a religion. I feel like so. If Trevor Lawrence doesn't hold up to the spotlight, that's on him because Jacksonville's putting so much around him, like not necessarily around him. I think Jacksonville needs to put more around him, but they're putting a lot of faith in him. So there's no argument. He's going first.
Number two, what do you got?
I have Penei Sewell.
So you think the Jets will stay with Darnold?
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah,
I think, in my opinion, I know they're looking for a quarterback, but I think if you put talent around him and you protect him, just maybe Sam Darnold will do what Sam Darnold should be able to do and is performing.
Okay, so I have them taking Zach Wilson. He had a great pro day. I think he's mostly the consensus number two quarterback in this class, and I don't think you can be at number two in such a quarterback heavy class with possibly five great quarterbacks to come out of this class.
Yeah,
You can't if I'm the Jets, if I don't take a quarterback, I'm trading back in this scenario. But we didn't include trades today because it's too complicated. But if I'm the Jets and I'm not taking quarterback, I'm trading back.
Yeah, no, I think if you protect Sam Darnold and you build around Sam Darnold, he's a good quarterback. He's not a bad quarterback, and I don't.
He's had like 3 years. He's like
yeah, but the Jets have set him up for failure.
Yeah, but there's a point where a quarterback is too broken, like you can't fix
But
him
he's
anymore.
not too broken. He just needs talent around him. A quarterback can't lead the Jets to a 9-7.
Look at Josh Rosen. Look what happened to that.
Yeah, but Josh Rosen destroyed himself. He had some talent around him.
No, the Cardinals sucked pretty bad when he was there.
Yeah, but they weren't like they had something. I mean, the Jets really don't have anything around Sam Darnold, and it's not like Sam Darnold did horrible this year. It's not like he wasn't a Josh Rosen where he completely sucked.
You're right, but still, I think they take up Zach Wilson. For number 3, I have the Niners going Justin Fields. You give up, like I said, you give up that much. You got to go get a quarterback. Justin Fields, great dual threat quarterback, almost a Colin Kaepernick redux.
Wow, you have 3 quarterbacks.
3 quarterbacks in the top 3 picks.
I have Zach Wilson going to the Niners. I agree with you on the quarterback situation, but I think the Niners take Zach Wilson, and I think the Jets don't because I don't like Jimmy G at all. I don't think that he has the talent anymore. I don't think that he has the physical capability because he is injury prone. The Niners need a quarterback to even get them to a winning season because Jimmy G is not the guy.
Well, why Zach instead of Justin?
Well, I watched Zach's pro day. He was doing a lot of his passes and stuff like that with ease. I think that Zach Wilson goes higher due to the simple draft stock. He's got a higher. I know it's like 1 or 2, but Zach I think could perform better, and I think he'll fit better in the San Francisco offense. So I have them taking Zach Wilson, but I think we can both agree that San Francisco's going to take a quarterback.
San Francisco's going to take a quarterback with the amount they give up.
What do you think about Atlanta? Who do you think Atlanta's going to take?
So Atlanta is an interesting scenario. So I kind of wanted to mock them Trey Lance because of how old they are, and but I think what they're going to do is they're going to try to squeeze like the last bit of contending thing they have out of Julio Jones and Matt Ryan. So I think they go pick up Penei Sewell. And no matter if Matt Ryan and Julio Jones do well or not, Penei Sewell is a building block on any offensive line.
I could agree. I could agree with you on picking up Pascal, but I was gonna go Patrick Surtain because I really could see them going a quarterback or a wide receiver or something in that direction, but they've got a long contract with Matt Ryan. Julio Jones
And they
got a
have like no
contract,
trade clauses
right?
too, so
And I think the Falcons thinking a lot. I think Patrick Surtain he's the right way to go for Atlanta. It's a tough one. Atlanta was a tough one. They could have gone a lot of separate ways. I don't know if they're gonna get with him. I'm almost certain that Trevor Lawrence is going to go number one, and I think Zach Wilson's probably new to San Francisco. But I don't know about the Falcons. That was a tough one for me. What do you think about who do you think the Bengals are going to get with?
Rashawn Slater. Penei Sewell just went off the board. They still need offensive tackle that badly. They go get Rashawn Slater out of Northwestern, who again also had a great pro day, who benched like a shit ton. I don't know if you saw that. He benched like a lot.
I could agree with you. I really could. Because it's almost like an Andrew Luck situation where Joe Burrow just has no protection.
They have to pick an
But
offensive tackle, otherwise their fan base will riot.
but they also kind of need a receiver core and stuff like that because they don't have AJ Green or anything like that anymore. So I said they go Kyle Pitts as a tight end just because give him an extra weapon. I think Kyle Pitts he performed great.
Kyle Pitts is like a tight end caliber, the prospect we haven't seen in a long time.
No, and so I think they go Kyle Pitts. I don't see Kyle Pitts dropping any more than 5, 6, maybe. Maybe the Dolphins.
He is one of the best tight end prospects we've ever seen.
I think the Bengals could go with an offensive. I don't shame you for going offensive tackle because the Bengals have absolutely no offensive line in my opinion. So, but I say they go tight end over offensive line. But again, this is one of those where it could go either way in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. All right, Miami, who you got?
Devontae Smith, no doubt. I say the Dolphins got a decent amount of time. I almost had them going quarterback because I don't think Tua is the guy for him. But I don't say they go first round for a quarterback. I don't think they're in that much need of a quarterback. I think they either give Tua this year to prove himself and then go quarterback next year, or I say they go quarterback this year. I don't know if they. I almost gave him number 6 quarterback, but I went Devontae Smith because. In my opinion, give Tua some weapons. I think Tua could perform. I don't think Tua's the guy for him, unfortunately, because I think he could perform a lot more with the weapons that they could be getting. But I say they go Devontae Smith just to give Tua even more of a chance to perform. Because I think they really want Tua to succeed.
I had this kind of same line of thinking. I gave him Kyle Pitts. We already talked about him, elite level tight end prospect, and so I think it's kind of the same reason, except you already had Kyle Pitts go off your board.
Yeah.
Detroit, I got them taking Jalen Waddle.
I could agree with that.
Jalen Waddle, in my opinion, is the best wide receiver prospect in this class.
Yeah.
And I think he was Devontae Smith is kind of a product of the Alabama scheme, and Jalen Waddle was not playing a lot for Alabama this past year. And so really I think he's the best prospect, wide receiver prospect in this draft.
I had Jamar Chase going, and I think that the Lions I totally agree that they're going to pick up a wide receiver. I put in a wide receiver. I think Jalen Waddle is probably one of the better wide receivers and probably top 2 in the draft right now. I just see him going Jamar Chase just because his draft stock and his what he was rated, and in general I think like I said they could go with any of the top wide receivers. I think they're just trying to build around Jared Goff because Jared Goff doesn't have any weapons right now. He's a Lion. I think they're going to do their best because I think Jared Goff's probably top 15 quarterbacks in the league right now. I think he's a good quarterback, but off of Jared Goff, I definitely see them going wide receiver either way. I have Jamar Chase, you have Jalen Waddle, but I see them going wide receiver either way. Who do you have Carolina taking?
Trey Lance, and he is one of my most underrated quarterback prospects. I think he's very undervalued, and I think he would even fit well in somewhere like San Francisco. But obviously, I think Justin Fields is slightly better. But Trey Lance is in any other draft where there's not Zach Wilson, Trevor Lawrence, and Justin Fields, I think he would be like a top 3 pick.
Yeah. No, I had Justin Fields going, but I like Teddy Bridgewater one bit, and he really didn't do anything for the Panthers this year.
Mm-hmm.
I think they go quarterback either way.
Yeah, they were actively trying to deal him for Matt Stafford.
Yeah, I could see Trey Lance going there because when I watched his pro day and on YouTube, I watch all these quarterbacks pro days just to see the talent level and stuff like that. He performed well. Like you said, I think he's a pretty underrated quarterback. Even some of the announcers said it. I think a lot of teams are looking past him just because of the school he went to and stuff like that. I see them going Justin Fields because I think Justin Fields had a little bit of a better day, and also his draft stock's a little bit more. And I could like this is one of those things where you could just see them. I'd see them going on quarterback in general, but
Hmm.
I see them going Justin Fields. I have Trey Lance actually on the next. I have him going to Denver because Drew Lock was such a letdown.
Yeah, I have kind of the same line of thinking, honestly, except it's Mac Jones because
Yeah,
Mac Jones is like, taller white quarterback, John Elway.
yeah, 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 yeah. I know you're in Denver. I know you're Denver. You're kind of a Denver fan. I
But
know.
like that's his type, and I think
Yeah,
Mac Jones fits that pretty well. But Mac Jones to me is not worth a top 10 pick, but I think he'll go there anyway, just because he's kind of come out of
yeah.
the woodwork in recent months. Like at the end of the season, he was kind of like a borderline like late first, maybe second round pick, and now he's like getting mocked to. I mean, obviously I have him mocked to Denver. Some people have him mocked to Philly, and even New England is a really popular
Uh,
destination in mock drafts for him. But
yeah. I mean, look, I have Trey Lance just because of his I really liked his pro day. I think Trey Lance one could go to I think he'd go either way. He could go to Carolina or he could go to Denver. But I think, like you said, I understand why you went Mac Jones. I get it. Your whole John Elway philosophy,
that's how he thinks, man.
but I see them going Trey Lance because I think they want a quiet guy that is just going to get there and get the job done. He's going to win. I see Trey Lance being that guy for him because Drew Lock wasn't that guy, and they expected him to be that guy. I think they're in dire need of a quarterback. I say they go quarterback. I say they go Trey Lance.
All right, Dallas at number 10. Who do you got?
J.C. Horn. I say with when Dak Prescott was there, not injured, they had a decent offense. Not great, but decent. I don't see them going early for anything offensively because they have Ezekiel Elliott as a back. They got Dak Prescott. They got a decent receiver core. I say they go cornerback just because their defense wasn't that good this year.
I agree. And plus, they lost Shadobi Awuzie
Yeah,
to free agency, and they really only have it'll be second rounder Trayvon Diggs in the manning the cornerback position. So I think I picked Patrick Surtain.
yeah.
I think personally he's a better prospect. He has better intangibles, but I can understand why you went J.C. Horn there. And New York Giants, I have Gregory Rousseau. He's one of my favorite raw prospects coming out of college. Like he's the definition of like raw edge talent. And he doesn't really have refined hands, but he has that power, that bull rush ability
Yeah,
that not a lot of prospects coming out of college do. And I think he'll fit well in the New York scheme. The New York Giants will bolster an already pretty good defense with the pickup.
so here's what I'm gonna say. So I think Daniel Jones is kind of in the same spot as Tua right now. I think that I don't think he's the right quarterback for New York, but I think they're going to try and do the best they can to get him to succeed. They got a decent receiver core. I see them going Jalen Waddle. Yeah, Jalen Waddle to that wide receiver core. If Daniel Jones does his job, they'll get into the playoffs. It'll be deadly in the receiver core. You add that extra tool. I see them doing really well. Um, I know New York needs a lot more than just a receiver.
Flanking Kenny G out there in the Big
Right.
Apple. I think that's a pretty good pickup. Eagles, I have going Jamar Chase. Just kind of a mix up on our wide receiver options. I think the Eagles literally have no one at wide receiver. They let go of Alshon Jeffrey and Deshaun Jackson. The only I can think of the only wide receiver I can think of on their roster is like JJ Arcega-Whiteside or what's his name, the fantasy guy who's really big in fantasy. I can't think of his
I
name.
know. I know
I
what you're
can't think of
talking
his name, but I can only think of like two wide receivers, and they both aren't that
about.
good. Travis Fulgham, that's his name.
Yeah. I see him going Micah Parsons just because Eagles need a lot. Uh, I see them going linebacker just because I think they need a defense a little bit more than an offense right now. Um, but um, okay, so we'll go to what? We'll go to like 15.
Yeah, we'll go to like 15 for today.
Okay, yeah, because we're a little bit running late on time, but yeah,
We get caught up.
it's fun. But so Micah Parsons definitely, in my opinion, I don't see them going anywhere else. I mean, they could, but no doubt I see them going with Micah Parsons
Micah
because
Parsons is one of the things where I just see him getting lost and he getting kind of underrated because Penn State really had an underwhelming season
yeah,
on football.
but I mean, look, I like those type of guys because he's gonna get the job done either way. He's not gonna go run his mouth like some of the other former superstars. I don't know if anybody knows what I'm talking about. Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver, but he's not gonna go running his mouth. He's not gonna go dancing on logos. He's not gonna go doing all this, doing all that. He's gonna get the job done. And I know I'm comparing him to a wide receiver, but I like Micah Parsons. I like the way he did. Like I said, he doesn't talk a lot. He's quiet. He's gonna be underrated. No doubt he's gonna be underrated. But I see him being a good addition to the Eagles.
Okay. All right. Los Angeles Chargers. Who you got going there?
Rashawn Slater, no doubt. I think they need to build around Justin Herbert. I see. They already have a really good quarterback right now. They just need to build around him, in my opinion. So an offensive tackle is the best way to go.
I wholeheartedly agree with you, and that's why I mocked him for Christian Darrisaw out of Virginia Tech. I like Rashawn Slater, but in my mock, Rashawn Slater went to the Bengals at number 5. So I gave them Christian Darrisaw, and I think they continue to bolster their offensive line after signing Corey Linsley, which I think was one of the best pickups of the offseason in the free agent market. And I think Darrisaw will fit really well into Los Angeles. They don't want Justin Herbert to get injured, because if Justin Herbert gets injured, then their season is pretty much torpedoed.
Yep.
And so that's basically how it goes. I think they're pretty good on running backs. They get Austin Eckler back after an IR year, and they have some good wide receivers out there.
Yeah, no, I definitely see. You build around Justin Herbert. They could have a winning season as long as they build around him.
Oh, I think for sure. And so for the next pick, Minnesota, number 14, I have Elijah Vera Tucker, an offensive guard out of USC.
This is where we disagree. I agree with Lofty going to Minnesota, because I think Minnesota's defense is not very good this year. You got an edge rusher, especially with his ability. He definitely goes to the Vikings, in my opinion. He could go higher. I know you had him going higher to New York, but in my opinion, I think the defense was the biggest lacking over in Minnesota. And I see them going over him. I think Minnesota's a little bit of a tougher one for me, just because overall Minnesota had a very disappointing year.
Yeah, I agree, and I think one of their only stars was Dalvin Cook, and I think that kind of shaping the offense in his image, his and Justin Jefferson's image is a good philosophy to win games, and I think they can recoup some of their defensive losses. They get like Michael Pierce back.
Yeah.
He didn't play. So I think their defensive woes will be a little bit better, but I think they go Elijah Vera Tucker, improve their interior offensive line after their other guard Riley Reef was signed with. You're so fucking. I know exactly what you're thinking of now, but New England Patriots, I have taking Micah Parsons, and for the same reasons you mentioned, Micah Parsons is the best linebacker, and I don't even think he should drop this low. But he will, because of the other teams with prevailing quarterback needs above him.
Yeah, I always pronounce his name wrong. Najee Harris. I know. I always pronounce it wrong. New England needs a running game. He's the highest rated running back, I'm pretty sure, right?
Well, they have Damian Harris and Rex Burkhead and.
I know. But you groom him, he could be a really, really, really good running back when it's time on the offensive side of the ball, especially with Cam Newton. I don't expect him to have a great season. Again, he could do what Cam Newton does and have a great season all of a sudden after having a horrible season. But everybody thinks he's going to. But I see them getting Harris, because you build Harris around him. Harris could be a top 10 running back in the league, in my opinion. But we're gonna stop at 15 because we're really running out of time here. So let's move on to March Madness.
Yeah, March Madness. So in March Madness, we had kind of sanity return just a little bit, just a little bit in the games, and so we had all of our number 1 seeds that played in the Sweet 16 pick up wins. Baylor picked up a win over Villanova, 62-51, and so they that kind of showed how good of a team they are, because they overcame a extremely sluggish shooting start. They were like 2 of 14 from the floor in the first 10 minutes, and it was very ugly in the first part of the game. But they rebounded, and one of the keys of good teams in all sports is being able to win in different ways and with different things happening to you. So if you start out shooting extremely poorly and you come back to win against a sneaky good Villanova team, I think that said a lot about you.
Yeah, I know. It's gonna sound bad. I had Villanova in Gonzaga, but Yeah, you saw a little bit of sanity left. I think Baylor has some real talent on the ball, and I see them probably going to the final matchup with Gonzaga. That could be a big thing. But you saw some other sanity, happen. You saw.
Yeah, Oral Roberts finally goes down. They missed the last second three. That was painful. I
I
wanted them to
really
move
wanted
on.
them to win. I'm
I
not gonna
wanted
lie.
them to win so bad,
I
but
didn't even have them going past round of 32, but I think I had them losing in 64. So, but
yeah, I had them losing. Yeah, no one predicted that, but it's a shame to see them go down. But Oregon State is another kind of Cinderella team. They're the second only ever 12 seed to make it to the Elite Eight, and I don't think they really have that much of a chance to make it to the Final Four,
yeah,
honestly,
but you
because
know,
they play Houston, and Houston shut down Syracuse. They didn't even allow 50 points on the
yeah,
board.
I know. I think, but yeah, I mean, Syracuse, I think Oregon State is more talented than Syracuse, in my opinion. I know they were a higher seed, but I think Oregon State's got the momentum. I know Houston has some too. I think it'll be a good game, and I know Houston's a talented team. And I know you have Houston going, I know that,
Hmm.
but I know that's probably why you're saying Houston.
Yeah.
But I have Oregon State beating Houston, I'm pretty sure, and I think Oregon State can beat Houston. I don't know if they will, but I think they
I
can.
think they can, but I don't think they will. And the other games in the second day, we had Zaga taking Creighton to town.
As
They
we
kind
all
of kept it. They
we
kind of kept it close through the first
expected it though.
15 or so minutes, and then Zaga just kind of took it and ran with it. Michigan beats Florida,
We expected
and
that.
one of the bigger upsets is UCLA over Alabama by 10
Yeah,
points.
nobody
And
expected that.
after Alabama was raining down threes on Maryland, I thought they could have a chance to make it to the Final Four.
I wouldn't. I honestly thought they could have just because, like I said, momentum. But
Great defense, great defensive scheme by Nate Oates, and great 3-point shooting. But no, the UCLA, and I think that's part of the perpetually underrated Pac-12. The
yeah,
Pac-12 has had like great teams. They have been underrated this tournament, and so like teams like USC and Oregon and even Oregon State have taken these higher seed teams to town, and I think that's part of the
yeah.
interconference matchups. They can only play teams from your conference.
Yeah, I like this whole tournament now. So
Yeah, and I
it's
and
it's
then
a it's a big it's a big thing that a lot of upsets this year I think. But
And the other game was USC versus Oregon, and USC won handily by a score of 82 to 68. And here's the thing, I really love USC, and I think they're a really strong team. They have a chance to beat Gonzaga, like a fighting chance.
I don't think they do. I think Gonzaga's probably gonna. I think all Gonzaga at this point. I think Gonzaga needs to floor it, and I think they will floor it against USC. And I think when they floor it, they're gonna floor it hard because they've been playing like just to get there. And I think now that they're in the Elite Eight, they're gonna put the foot down. And I think
Hmm.
that's what they need to do. And if they don't, USC could sneak. USC is a sneaky team. I think USC could sneak up behind
Definitely
it.
that whole Pac-12. All right,
But
let's do a quick MLB
All right, I'll do my top 10 power rankings this
dugout
week
talk.
just because opening day is literally in 3 days and I'm super excited for it. So we all know what number one is. We all know the Dodgers are taking number one because of the talent on both sides of the baseball, not the football. Talent in the pitching staff and at the plate and defense wise. Dodgers are the best team in the world. We know that. Padres picking up all the pitching staff they did this year, picking up Blake Snell, picking up Yu Darvish, stuff like that. Oh, did they pick up Yu Darvish? No, they didn't. I'm sorry. I thought they did. But the pitching staff they picked up this year, they're definitely number two. There's definitely no doubt. The Yankees talent that they picked up. Yankees always buy talent, in my opinion. That's why I'm also an Orioles fan. But Luke Voigt getting hurt is going to be a big thing. But they even on this website it says the biggest upset was it wasn't Judge or Stanton, which is a big thing because it's the two biggest power bats in the Yankees bats. Braves have really good talent, and I think they're a sneaky team, and I think they could definitely make it to the NLCS or the NLDS, no doubt. Uh, Mets picking up Lindor, big thing for them. They've got talent now. They haven't had talent in years. Mets going number five is a big thing in my opinion. I'm not going to say anything about Houston. I don't like Houston either way, no matter what if they're six or not. um, the Jays. The Jays are talented, not as talented as they used to be, but the Jays are getting there. Uh, Jays are an AL and an AL East team. AL East is always competitive. I think the Jays could possibly make the wild card this year. It's a toss up between probably them and Tampa Bay, but I don't know if Tampa Bay will either or not. I think the Sox should be higher. I think the Sox have a lot of talent on that team, especially because my favorite pitcher, Garrett Crochet, is on that team. Does 100 miles an hour with ease. But Sox have a lot of sneaky talent. I definitely see them making the playoffs either way. I don't think the Twins should be up here, but I think the Twins went off of momentum, and I think they can go off of momentum. I think the A's should be higher just because of the season that they had last season. The A's should definitely be higher. The A's are definitely going to the playoffs this year, in my opinion. Cardinals, I think are ranked. Oh, that's number 10. I'm sorry. Here, I'll go to 12.
Okay.
I'll go to 12, and that's it. Because I know we don't have a lot of time. We have like 10 minutes left. But Cardinals, I think, should be lower. Just because they picked up Nolan Arenado doesn't put them as a powerhouse team. Yeah, he's a great player, but they need more than just him. The Rays lost a lot this year, but they're still talented. Rays played off momentum last year. They had talent. I think the Rays could do it again this year, just not in the World Series. I don't see them going to the World Series at all. But the Rays dropped a lot, unfortunately. I was happy to see them in the World Series. They haven't been there in a while. But overall, I think the Rays are good where they are. I think the Cardinals should definitely drop.
All right, so that does it for the our dugout talk. So now we'll move on to quick penalty box. So let's talk about Mika Zibanejad, center for the Rangers, who has accrued 16 points in 6 games and with 2 hat tricks, both against the Flyers. And the Flyers, like, this is great for Mika Zibanejad, who kind of had a slow start to the season, who everyone is hating on. Is like, yeah, Mika, you needed to do better. And then he comes out and scores, 2 hat tricks. And this says something about Philly, too, because their goaltending unit, Brian Elliott and Carter Hart, have stunk it up. And, I mean, this might take Philly out of contention for a playoff spot in the East Division, which is pretty strong. But Mika Zibanejad obviously picking up first star of the week for that performance. Aaron Ekblad goes down for Florida. I think he's tied for first among defensemen with goal leads. And he's really like a core of why Florida has been doing so well this year and why they're contending in the Central Division. Another thing about Central Division, the Nashville Predators have won 4 in a row, and a lot of people are talking about a fire sale at the end of the season for Nashville, who seemed to be middling and couldn't do it anymore. But suddenly they're in position for a playoff spot. They move above Chicago. And speaking of Chicago, Kirby Dach finally returns from long-term IR after breaking his wrist. I think it was 3 or 4 months ago, which obviously as a hockey player is terrible. Like, that's like the worst thing to break. And so from the West, Mikko Rantanen is having an outstanding year for the Colorado Avalanche, who have finally found their stride and are once again putting up those like 5-6 goal games that have made them an offensive staple of the league in years past. And so Brendan Lemieux has been traded from the New York Rangers to the Los Angeles Kings for a 4th round pick. And I find it interesting the Kings are being buyers at this trade deadline. And so the Kings are a sneaky good team. Drew Doughty and especially Anze Kopitar, have been having really bounce back seasons. And I think they are ranked top 10 in both the power play and the penalty kill, which is interesting for a team so far out of a playoff spot. But obviously they think they have something with Drew Doughty and Anze Kopitar still in their advanced ages. Eric Stahl is dealt from Buffalo. Obviously, the horrid seasoning is happening there. They're on a league I think they've lost like 17 in a row at this point, or 15 in a row, which is setting the record for most games without a win, which is so sad. But he goes to the Montreal Canadiens for a 3rd round pick and a 5th round pick in this upcoming draft. And, a little bit of NCAA hockey. So NCAA hockey has a similar, not so many teams, but they have they have a bracket.
Yeah.
And so there was the longest NCAA hockey game ever played the other night. It was Minnesota Duluth versus North Dakota, and they went a 5 OT, and the game lasted for like 6 hours and 15 minutes, which is ridiculous. And the Minnesota Duluth finally won it. I think it was like 100. It was like 100 and something shots. It was ridiculous, like total. It was ridiculous. I wasn't able to watch it. Obviously, 6+ hours means you're going till like 1:30 in the morning. But I thought that was really interesting and a little bit off topic that maybe we needed to share. But that'll do it for our podcast today. Hope you liked us being in person. Hopefully, it doesn't sound too bad.
No, we'll definitely do it more often. I think it was a little bit more productive today as we worked together actually in person. Don't worry, me and Jackson have been around each other for months. So
Yeah,
you don't have to worry about
COVID's safe.
COVID.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, don't worry about it. But thank you guys for tuning in today. I know this week may have been a little bit long. I know it's hit every week, but I think this week may have actually been a little bit long just because of our drafts. But it's not our drafts. So
It's fun to talk about, though.
no, I agree.
I think we could maybe resume it next week, but we'll see. Make sure to like and subscribe. Find us anywhere podcasts are found. Have a great week, JC Mania.